Hi, this is Mark Lippman coming to you from Venice Beach, California, and HC Media is bringing you tales of adventure from across the country and around the world on my new program, Endless Horizons. Check it out.
It starts with the creation of a myth. You know, you're going to be talking about Abbot Kinney and how he founded Venice. I mean, talk about creating a dream. I mean, to the max, coming into an area that has nothing really to sell itself at that point and deciding that you're going to make the Venice of California. That in itself has created a kind of mystique around the place.
So the Venice canals are certainly, at least to some people, they're a hidden treasure of Venice. I think they're fairly well known, but what I think a lot of, at least casual visitors, might not be aware of is that these canals were once much more extensive than they are today. I mean, one of my favorite things to do when I go to Venice is to walk down the streets that used to be canals and just sort of imagine what it was like when there was water there and this little house was on an island then.
I know, isn't it amazing? And to go around Windward Circle, because I think Windward Circle was water as well.
It was a lagoon, yeah.
It was a lagoon. I mean, really, I know, it's incredible. How wouldn't you love to just like go back in time and see what it was like?
All the time, yes.
Venice's original canals were filled in and paved over in 1929. Today, there's little evidence that gondoliers once rode here, serenading their passengers. But postcards from the archives reveal the vision dreamt up by a man who wanted to launch a cultural renaissance from Southern California. Walking down these paved-over canals made me wonder about the visionary responsible for them, Abbot Kinney.
He was born in 1850, and he grows up in D.C. during the Civil War. When he's only 16, they send him off to Europe, to the University of Heidelberg. And he also goes to university in Paris and Zurich. Then he goes traveling, and he goes on a walking tour of Italy. While he's there, of course, he does a lot of walking, I guess, in Venice, Italy, and that stuck with him. He ends up coming back to D.C., and he joins in with a U.S. survey team. And he ends up coming out to California and does a survey at Yosemite. So he comes to kind of like California. And then later on, he decides he's going to come out here and do business. So he proceeds to move in Pasadena. And he ends up buying 550 acres there and calling it Kinnyola, like Abbot Kinney. And he's quite successful in that subdivision. And the guy's only in his 20s still. Then he moves, he goes, you know, it's a little hot out here. So he goes, I've got to go down to the beach in Santa Monica. And he loves it down there. Immediately gets a house, and he starts developing this hill. He laid out all the streets in Huntington Palisades in 1886. In 1888, there's a huge real estate collapse. He lost everything that was in the Palisades, but he kept the place in Santa Monica, and he gets a chance to buy this Ocean Park casino with 1.5 miles of beach. Doesn't get along with the partners. So he says, we've got to split up the partnership. Let's take the 1.5 miles of that beach and we'll split it in two and we'll flip a coin to see who gets to pick which half. So they flip a coin, Abbot Kinney wins, and he chooses the swampy half, not the real valuable half, not the part of Ocean Park that's all expensive houses and really nice. He chooses this swampy area. We now know it as the marina. But he looks at that and says, you know, I'm going to build Venice of America there. And they're all looking at him like, you know, you're crazy. He had this background that he was going, no, what we're going to do is we're going to create this situation where we have pavilions and it educates the public. We have grand concerts. His plan would be an artist community, writers, educate the public. It was really a grand idea. He sees himself as a good-hearted king. He had a chauffeur when he first arrived in Venice, and a lot of people know this story, but he was a black man, Irving Tabor. And he found out how bright and wonderful this guy was, and he said, you know, I need you to manage some of my affairs. And he did. And so when Abbot Kinney dies in 1920, he leaves him a big house on the canals. And then the reality sets in for the people of Venice. They're going, oh, but we have segregated housing. So he had to move his house, this huge craftsman-style house, ended up having to move it to the section of Venice that's called Oakwood. The idea was that if you look at his time, it was amazing how open-minded and unprejudiced and kind-hearted. This was a guy who really had a lot of humanity in him.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. Alright, yeah. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange.
We also have this listed, the Shape of Poetry to Come.
Beautiful,
chapbook.
thank you.
And then Jeremiah Walton also has chapbooks, Help Out in Hungary and Lines Off the Rear View. If you
Beautiful.
all went through, if you need more copies, do let me know. And then I only have this. And I have some t-shirts.
You want to just text me the address and
Not a
Bing bong. Hey, Damian Rucci, what are we doing here today?
This is the decline of Western civilization. We are here at Beyond Baroque during this crazy moment of civil unrest, but here it is beautiful. The vibes are great. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Keep on keeping on, brother.
Keep on keeping on.
Hey, welcome back to Endless Horizons. I'm your host, Mark Lippman, and we've just arrived in Venice, California with our poetry tour. And we're here today at the world-famous Beyond Baroque with the executive director of the Literary Arts Center, Quentin Ring here. Quentin, thank you so much for hosting us today.
Hey, Mark, my pleasure for being here, for having you. Thanks for being here and for organizing this program with us.
Thank you. It's really an honor. There's so much happening here in Beyond Baroque. Now, tell us a little bit about the history, because you're what, like 56 years old now, the institution?
Yeah, 57 years old
57.
actually, as of this year. Yeah, so we were founded in 1968
Okay.
by a man named George Smith, who inherited just a little bit of money from his mother and wanted to start an experimental literary magazine, and he called that Beyond Baroque. But in conjunction with the magazine, he started holding readings and workshops. This is all in a little storefront on a street that's called Abbot Kinney here in Venice. And it quickly just turned into a space and a hub for writers, and particularly for poets. He didn't intend it for it to be a poetry center initially, but the poets just kind of took it over. As he says, I think he said that they started laying their greasy heads on all the paintings he hung, and it just became a poetry center. So since then, we've gone on to host workshops regularly, readings, art exhibitions. In 1979, we moved into this space, which is the original Venice City Hall. We got a bookstore, an art gallery, a theater, some gardens.
And I understand you've hosted many programs for the community. I think was it the Youth Poet Laureate program started through Beyond Baroque?
We definitely worked with the Los Angeles Youth Poet Laureate program. We didn't actually start it ourselves, but the city and the country's first Youth Poet Laureate, Amanda Gorman, came through our workshops. She went on to be the presidential inaugural poet in 2021 for Joe Biden.
In fact, there are a great many famous, well-known poets who have come through these doors. Can you give us a little highlight of some of the people who have been through here?
Yeah, absolutely. And so because we provide a space for writers and a lot of opportunities to work on their art and their craft, so a lot of folks who start off with us go on to be pretty well known. Perhaps the best known of those poets is Wanda Coleman, who we named our theater after.
Yes.
She started in our Wednesday night poetry workshop. She always said that Beyond Baroque was her alma mater. This is where she met her classmates. Certainly Amy Gersler, the poet, Dennis Cooper, the poet and novelist. The band X, Exene Cervenka and John Doe met in our workshop, and that's why the band was formed. Tom Waits was in the workshop once upon a time, Amanda Gorman, as I mentioned. And many, many others. I mean, Viggo Mortensen, the actor, as well.
And also the famous Venice poet, Philomene Long.
Philomene Long was a huge part of the community. One of the most important the Venice Beats, a big part of the community here until she passed in 2006. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I really love about this space is that it's a multi-purpose space. You've got a black box theater.
Yep.
It's like a 70, 80 seat theater.
Yeah, it's about 60 fixed seats. You put some folding chairs, about 100 seats.
Then you've got the gallery upstairs.
Yep.
You've got a back space, a garden space for events.
Yep.
You've got the bookstore, which is second to none. This is a wonderful space. If you are a book lover, especially you got some great poetry on the shelves here, some local presses as well. And now you're tricking out the garden out here. I've noticed this huge botanical garden out in the front. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks for asking about the garden, actually, because that is particularly special to me, because when I first started here, I wasn't a director, I wasn't working here, I was just a volunteer. One of the very first things I did was help dig that garden. I actually think you were there. You probably don't remember me, but from that time.
Oh, I remember.
But yeah, it used to be just a bare lawn, and initially we got a grant to turn it into an ocean-friendly garden, a little section of it, and then some other folks saw it and thought, this is really cool, let's start a community garden. So they approached Beyond Baroque and turned it into a community garden. So there's vegetables, there's some fruit trees out there. It's managed by a youth organization called Safe Place for Youth that provide opportunities for homeless youth.
Yep.
And
A very great organization.
Very good organization,
yes.
And so we've had a long partnership with them, and the garden has grown up, and it's just a beautiful space these days. Yeah.
Yeah, I love what you've done with the place.
Thank you.
Quentin, what's next for Beyond Baroque? What have you got on the horizon?
Yeah, very good question. It is a challenging time at the moment with the national political environment, but we are very much looking to expand our workshop program. We're looking to sort of sustain some of our big signature events, like the Southern California Poetry Festival, expand those. We launched a International Poetry Film Festival a couple of years ago that we want to expand as well. And we really want to provide more opportunities for youth workshops. And so we're launching some new youth workshops and hopefully doing more to develop youth poets.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on all the work that you're doing. And again, thank you for welcoming us here today. It's really, like I was saying on the stage, it's a homecoming for me coming back to this space. I have a deep history here, and I just love the poetry community in Venice, so thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, and congrats on the poetry caravan. It's an amazing thing to have done. So welcome home.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're doing what we can to connect our communities, and this is a big part of it. So thank you again, and catch us for more. We'll be right back.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center. My name is Quentin Ring. I'm Beyond Baroque Executive Director, and we are thrilled to have here this afternoon Mark Littman and his Vagabond Poetry Caravan. Yes. Welcome to all the poets. Exciting afternoon, exciting project Mark put together. He's been traveling across the country with a bus full of poets, which is the right way to travel as far as I'm concerned. I think they've hit 7,000 miles already. He can tell you more about it. But this is not the last stop for them, but one of the last stops. And it's just really nice to be able to welcome. Mark has a long history here at Beyond Baroque as a poet, as an organizer, as a member of the community, and I actually haven't seen him in, I think he was telling me 3.5 years, something like that. So it's really great to be able to welcome him back and welcome folks into the space. A lot going on this afternoon right now in Los Angeles and across the country. And so I'm very glad to be able to share space with you. As the sign says, no kings, but we do have poets. So that's kind of the way we want it to be here. Before we get started, I want to say a few words about Beyond Baroque. Beyond Baroque is Los Angeles' oldest literary institution. We were founded in 1968 by George Drury Smith. We've been a space for poets and writers for 56 years now. 57 years, I can't count. And we have done a huge amount to nurture the poetry and literature and arts in Los Angeles. We have a free Wednesday night poetry workshop that's been running continuously since 1969, every Wednesday. A lot of poets have gone through that workshop, including Wanda Coleman, whom this theater is named after, Amy Gersler, many others, all the way down to the present. I also wanted to take a moment to recognize Beyond Baroque's presence here on Tonga land. We acknowledge the wrong done to indigenous communities through settler colonialism, genocidal practices, and the violent dispossession of their land. As an arts organization, we are committed to uplifting indigenous writers, narratives, and communities. Beyond that, I just want to say really thanks to Mark for all the work he does as a poet, as an organizer. Used to be here in Los Angeles, now it's international. I mean, he's been in Europe, he's been all over the world, he's been traveling across the States, and he brings people together in support of poetry and social justice. And so I think it's particularly appropriate that we're here with him and this group of amazing poets today on a Saturday afternoon. So without further ado, welcome Mark Littman, editor of Vagabond Books. Please, Mark, join us.
But I really want to thank Quentin Ring and Beyond Baroque and all the staff here for welcoming us here today. This is our arrival in the heart of Los Angeles, and what a day this is. We all know all the stuff that's going on in Los Angeles right now and around the country. We've just spent the last 6.5 weeks or so traveling 7,500 miles, zigzagging across the country to be with you here today. And we have witnessed with our own eyes all the things that are going on in the States, all the disparity in our communities and desperation out there on the streets, people struggling to get by. And we have seen this with our eyes and with our ears. We're hearing all of this and sharing the stories. That's the job of us as poets, is to be reporters of the times in which we live. Because really, in times like this, in times of war and homelessness, truth is always the first victim. As the casualties pile up in our collective consciousness, memory has the lifespan of a goldfish, forgetting itself with each subsequent news cycle. Spun around half lies and whole falsehoods, the politician is not too far away to pat himself on the back, taking credit for what he has never done or at best was forced to do, selling cheap words and platitudes to the suffering masses who must make do with unkept promises and a shrinking waistline as stretching bread lines lick an empty shelf. Compassion dies behind tall walls that separate the eyes from the hearts as those with more shorten the table to stuff their faces with the blood of the poor. For hunger is a crime in times of war and homelessness, and the refugee must take the blame for the shock and awe, for only the guilty would place their children beneath our bombs bursting in air and the rockets' red glare that is there to entertain us, to distract us from our own humanity, for having the audacity to wash up upon our shores like some dead fish with the tides. For in times of war and homelessness, with God on our side and the proper application of collective punishment, we may be blessed to even forget that they ever existed at all. Like I said, as poets, we're truth tellers. And the great thing about being with a group that I'm traveling with right now is that we all have that from the ground working class perspective of the world in which we live. And we're all reporting back in our own ways our stories of what we've seen in this world. And it's an honor to be traveling with these guys. I'm going to be bringing them up shortly. I'll do a couple more poems for you. But then I'm going to introduce a very special guest, and before I bring up our crew from New Jersey. But I just wanted to give a shout out to them, because right now what we're doing is we're connecting our West Coast poetry networks with our East Coast poetry networks. And you know what happens when that happens? Is that we have a national poetry network of poets, activists, community around the country. And now we can activate that and do things together, which is very important. We have to start working together cohesively, because as long as Ferlinghetti said, the times in which we live call for the poets to save us. I would like to bring up a very special friend who I've known for, going on 15, 16 years now. My brother Wobbly, with the IWW, a poet and friend who I have much respect for all his lifetime work that he's done. The former director of Beyond Baroque. Please welcome up the one and only Richard Modiano.
Thank you, fellow worker Mark. Preamble. The working class and the employing class have nothing in common. There can be no peace so long as hunger and want are found among the millions of working people, and the few who make up the employing class have all the good things in life. A struggle must go on until the workers of the world take control of the means of production and live in harmony with the earth.
Yeah.
Look on the bright side. They're clearing the streets of the tourist for the tourist again. No papers, no problem. Just keep moving, Cholo. A brighter LA, gleaming, safe, with families vanished behind each front door. The choppers hum lullabies in the sky, while agents with smiles knock on your dread. They've got uniforms pressed, boots polished and that shine like mirrors, and warrants that are like whispers that they're eager to hide. Look on the bright side. They're making us shape up. No clutter of culture in the street. No mothers with tamales. No laughter in parks. Just echoes of silence, empty baseball courts. Your gardener's gone? Well, now you can commune with the earth and do your own plants. Your nanny's detained? Don't wallow or moan. You'll learn your child's name and spend some one-on-one time with him. Isn't it charming, this city so quiet? No taco trucks, no mariachi thrill, no late-night cumbias, no quinceañera parties, Just sirens that sing you to sleep deep in the night? The bright side is brilliant, so orderly, clean, a version of LA from someone's nightmare. The stars can now shine where the people you once played, but no one looks up when they're running for their life. In the quiet before the drone hums, a child watches shadows stretch and go. Her eyes, not old enough for war, yet know the rules that come, know the ruin that comes. The walls are chalked with smoke and groans. The sky forgets how blue it was. Still, she stares. No tears, just wide windows into what silence is. She holds no flag, no cry for battle, just a pebble gripped in her hand. A wish, a brother's name mumbled, a question why the bread runs red. Her eyes, too deep for such small years, reflecting not just dust but dread. Grown tall in alleys, caged by flame, where even games forget their calls. And her gaze, the world may suffocate from the bombs, but looking away, not seeing what she sees each hour, hope smudged in ash and swept to the gutter.
Give it up for Richie Modiano. Yeah. All right, now I mentioned earlier how I'm looking to connect our West Coast and East Coast networks. So to introduce to you really the founder of what's going on heavy down in New Jersey on the East Coast. A man that I've got to know over these last several weeks with much respect for the work he's doing in New Jersey over the last 10 years, building up a working class poetry movement that in and of itself is second to none. It is exploding on the East Coast thanks to this man, and it's my honor and privilege to be able to introduce him to California. Please give a warm applause for Damian Rucci. Yeah.
I have always wanted to come here. Make some noise for Beyond Baroque and everything's going on. It's historic. Last night we rolled into Venice. We went swimming around the block and we got our shoes stolen. That's a great entrance. So I want to come here and ask you guys, have you guys ever been in a situation where people were like talking bad about you? Like telling tall tales, spreading rumors and building myths? And you can't even defend yourself because it's all true. And worse, they don't even know half that you really did. This is about that. This is called Even If I Did, So What?
I guess you had me figured out. I never shot the sheriff, but I sure as hell broke the toilet. I prowled empty streets for baggies of white trash divine. I breathed the Atlantic and I've cursed the sky. I played Robin Hood so we could eat, and I'm not sorry I'd do it again. I've chased country sunsets whenever once to get to look back towards home. I went searching for myself and I got lost. I quit every job I've ever had. I've spit in the face of convention and paid the price of your own indignation. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. My shoes have worn down from running away. I swing for home runs every chance that I get. I know one day I'm gonna hit the ball. I'll roll my boulders up and down suburban hills and search for honest men at twilight. I traded my teeth just so I could get off. Can you believe it? My tooth fairy is a tweaker with a heart of gold. I made best friends in fist fights and buried the myths I held sacred in unmarked graves in Indiana. I've been rich in fleeting moments and so poor I couldn't afford to pay mind to any of your concerns. I lost faith in myself and I found it, right where I left it, under all of my baggage. I walked into the belly of the beast and I came out with that in my hands. What I'm really trying to say is I don't regret a thing.
Yeah. That's when I realized our mission is utter insanity. Again. And a car I trust in cities now barreling no guardrails, Wyoming. Burning oil and rubber, of course we get a nail in the tire. Unreliable and ready. We're prepared for how unprepared we are. Our cause is holier than your laws and rifles through your sock drawer searching for little orange pills.
Amen.
Justification is for people who don't know how to tell the truth, and I'm all out of excuses. There's one more crossroads to bear. And I guess I'll be honest this time, let my family know I'm having the time of my life. Everything is fire, and the smoke spells freedom trademark. If we are the poem, we are inked with blood and oil, war machine runoff, the gaudy myths of men who did great things, and we are doing great things. Look, a traditional madness, rushing cliffs for fortunes, ruin breathing sweetly on your neck. Out in the Rockies, where the predators prey, where desire sings in the key of calories, I sip cucumber Gatorade and so sweetly neuter the tune. Chicago, we put our faith in the lost and found, where the rats look both ways before crossing the street. In Denver, I was having a hard time in Chicago. That was a rough 2 days. I wish you contributed more. In Denver, Barstool Poetica wandered all night. Not his name yet. He got locked out of the car. Through streets still aching from someone else's dream. Yippity-yap goofs in Rapid City. Scheme ourselves west while Yale professors catch flights to Europe. I don't think anyone in this room can afford to run. So come drowning. We crave our last breath, climbing black into blue. Bubbles yearning yellow-white, break surface, pop, and everyone will go, ooh, and ah. They never said a commonplace thing. Ooh, ah. How fabulous, how Roman, both ends burn like California, like Tulsa. My ex, my girl, my liminal space where the little boy in my heart sighs with relief. When I say, I'm gonna die a legend. Darling, legends don't write their own stories.
Election Day 2024. The elephant-eyed hierophant romances the donkey drone. 4 more years of arson, America a la mode. Anchor cast my ballot, seeking to shred confetti by county clerk decree. Which color state 'tis it thee? Sweet, sweet land of bribery. How can we afford the People's Choice Award? What constitution? Call the congressmen, the senators have undertaken a grave nation inflated by demophatic ideations. Adore costume crooks, amused with dirty looks, shaking liberty loose from her tarnished gown. Come one, come all, gaze all around. Let the fox tell you who stole the crown.
Yeah.
No kings, man. My name's Alex Rags. I'm a poet and a musician from New Jersey. We just spent the last 43 days, 7,500 miles, traversing the great American wasteland. And we're really happy to be here at Beyond Baroque, so thank you so much for having us. There's a lot of other wonderful and talented people on this caravan. You'll be hearing from them soon as well.
Man, what they're doing is not only important, it's all about human rights, freedom. You know, it reflects like a spirit of the country. You know, this country's already great, but now it needs saving. And they're doing it, you know, with fun and style. And they proved that in Chicago, and P.W. Covington and Hercules Publishing proved that at Route 66 Fest that we were just at, drawing up the real spirit of this country, which is the open road. And it's contagious when you mix the truth with fun and freedom, and it makes everyone want to get involved. So I miss my hat's literally off to them. So yeah, shit. This is for everyone who's ever lost someone to mental illness. called Sugar Skull. Dark avenues like red tunnels telescope back into her inner eye. Streetlights bend in the steam of frying bat meat. Motel shadows full of eyes suspend hidden deals in cultural force fields. Bugs pour from the cracks in the mirror that line her face with age. She was sure she could lead the homeless army over the wall of the Hollywood Forever Cemetery to dig up the pharaoh and use his skull like a radio to free the internet slaves. It was snowing dope in the desert, all fangs numb, and angel feathers descended, and as she sneezed, blew her cover so the cameras fell down upon her, and x-rayed her skull, and x-rayed her soul until she believed that she never had one. She thought if she could reincarnate into her enemy and then commit suicide, she could loop time back to before the world was poisoned like a well. Smoking looms of memories flashed like lightning in the fog and burned her silhouette across the back wall of the Circle K. After her paranoid poems were rejected for channeling the dead, she intoned them like stand-up comedy to her doctors, who decided to laugh rather than stroke their beards, and declared her cured, and shaved their goats, and bottled her tears, and sold self-help books based on the social media version of herself with a close-up of her carbon footprint on the book jacket. Pungent flowers will grow from the decay of her good intentions, blocked orgasms, confabulated glory days, menstrual sunsets, lying pen pals, parent expectations, self-inflicted lobotomies, fever halos, conspiracies with the moon, apocalyptic codes, bonfires with the damned, the eulogy she wrote herself, her caramelized brain, garbage islands, melting mushrooms, elephants in the room, dental dams, teddy bears, street corner prophets, endless lists of regurgitated objectivity, and personal madness giggling like musical rubber numbers under the shade of time. Will we ever sleep again? Will we ever dream in a new language? Will we ever be able to change the world but preserve our precious melancholy mythology? Or can peace only arrive through desolation? Can we, through trial and error, checks and balances, be crowned with utopia, teetering on the peak of this round of recorded history? Torn by time, skinless, stretched on the rack of the sun wheeling in slow motion, teeth shattered in TV static, shh, or God whispers.
Yeah.
All right.
It is so cool to be here at Beyond Baroque. It's one of those places I hear about on the radio, and I hear all the serious writers going and doing their serious readings. Thanks for being here all these years. Thanks to Richard. It's always good to see you. I was born in San Bernardino County, but I'll tell you, Venice feels like home every time I'm out here. There's a book of mine here. You go to these things and they have you sign this thing about I'm going to give you so much, you're going to keep this much, and this is when you can come and get them off the shelf. It's really cool to walk into a place like this and find your books already on the shelf. Everything I read tonight is going to be out of this collection of Mail Poet, which was published in 2021, right into the opening jaws of COVID. By a little press called Gnashing Teeth Publishing. They're a woman-owned, woman-run press out of Northwest Arkansas. It's available right over there. Buy a copy. Hotel bars and Blacktown cars. Have you come here tonight to assist me in perpetuating the lie of the successful traveling poet? Hope whispers, even as experience screams. Hiding from ourselves, our evil, aimless selves in hotel bars and Blacktown cars on the way to where we're going. Dark glasses on the transit train. Earbuds on the airplane, prepackaged podcast validation of our obvious. And we hold signs that shout, "No walls." How often I wrap myself in the familiar me, return to cities that I came to know decades ago like comfortable old lovers, flaws embraced like the weather, songs that once defined our lives worn threadbare by the seasons. A woman next to me at the airport gate in Oakland, code switches Chinese and English, talking into her phone, and I try, but I cannot bring to mind the last time I set out to find the unknown. Contradictions and omissions, circus tents and hunting season, so off she's gone to Florida. I think she just stopped believing the lies of my life, mixed with gin and dreams in little poetry magazines. My hopes whisper, my experience screams. Yeah, I brought a poet with me. I tell you what, we just had a hell of a festival in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah. Give it up for the Route 66 Poetry and Arts Festival. And for the last 6 months or so, pretty much every thought's been going that direction. It's so good not to have to think about that or much of anything right now, believe me. And over the last 6 weeks or so, as this thing's come down on the home stretch, absolutely positively could not have put any of this together. You've all been contacting her and been in contact with her over all of the million things that we've had to do, and she wanted to jump on this and get her chance to read some poetry out here on the great American continent, and it's been great to have her around. Everybody put your hands together for a gal I met in high school, Tracy Z.
Hello. My name is Tracy Zielonka, so I just go by Tracy Z, as you can probably understand. I'm from Austin, Texas, but I jumped on the caravan in Albuquerque. Woo. And generally speaking, I tend to write about the darker elements of our psyches and our culture, but I guess we're kind of inundated with that right now. So I was thinking about the role of a writer and of a poet, and this is what I came up with, but I know it encompasses so much more. The role of a writer is what it has always been, to illuminate the inconsistencies, unearth the truth, and liberate the people. To encourage civic engagement and to question everything. And I wrote this on the road and have been working on it, and it's a little different from other things I've written. Write yourself as the moon, hovering, silver-tongued, far away, somehow still at home. Give your sadness a new hobby. Comb its hair, scrub its face, tell it to go outside and play in the mud. Write your mother as a garden. Name what now grows in her place. Spell your name with different letters. Borrow the algorithm of change. Become an ocean or a stop sign or well done laughter. Write grief as a good lover and then break his thieving heart. Conjure a potion for your loneliness while shaming each ingredient for trying to cure your kind of quiet. Drag your grief in by the tongue and become a ventriloquist for the dead. Give your fevered heart a pill and then confess why you might prefer the sickness. Write your body as a vacant city whose name is plastered on every billboard. Write your fathers as all fathers. Tell the truth. Do not give him metaphor as a crutch. Write history as a series of oars. Unborn, that unwanted returning. Poem blood. Poem a pulse of tomorrow's sun. Write everybody as fact. Poem yourself a praise dance. Poem yourself a holy church. Describe your joy as a boundless child and give that child siblings. Translate bird song. Brag about your teeth. Your body is a country. What valuables lie beneath your skin? Do you have more bridges or borders? Conjure a ghost to keep you company. Write justice as a god, then nail his hands to a cross. What must die so that you can survive? Write every reason to end your life, and then give each reason 5 fresh hearts. Write your heart as an object. What new ideas pump your blood? If only once, write the future as nonfiction. Poem pain as a gospel song. Take each scar to dinner. Decorate a casket for yesterday, then lower it beneath the ground. Write yourself as water, as things that keep the earth alive. And yes, go on and write, write, write.
The poet's parents met. Her dad's eyes, her mother's Spanish curves, chasing her around in her chanclas. Beautiful young fools caught in love's naivety, both from an absent home. 2 kids and a marriage later, and life came me, and then divorce. Swearing not to repeat history, I hid away my vulnerabilities, calloused my heart. A fat girl, a butterfly past due to become skinny. But I have my dad's eyes and my mother's Spanish curves. I, in lover's eye, became poetry, breathing. Dressed in language and curves. Dime, mija, how long will you hate your vessel?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on Endless Horizons. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have left today, but make sure to tune in next time as we bring you part 2 of our grand season finale. And make sure to keep an eye out for this, because we're getting ready to hit the road to film season 3, so a lot more adventures coming for you down the road. But until then, remember to follow your dreams and keep your eye on the horizon.
To you, Mr. Mark Lippman.
All right, thank you. I'd just like to put up a big thank you to Milton and Mark and the whole crew for putting this incredible festival together, the Venice Spring Fling. So honored to be a part of this. And thank you so much for being here. Venice, I love you. And let's keep this going. For all those who say it can never be done, who look upon those ivory towers with their militarized trenches, disappearing chambers, and puppet mechanisms, imitating human beings in all aspects, except for a conscience and a body to jail, enslaving a world with divisions of hate and sectarianism. I say, dream of a world which is at peace with itself. For all those who have given up hope, who have fallen to despair, who see the skies falling in on them and the shoreline inching closer, who have given into fear and the bitter tears of defeat. I say, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Stand tall and lead. To be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to break them all. For all those who dream of freedom, there is no easy path. Hills follow hills and mountains before we reach our valley. We must use our time wisely and see the horizon. Settle not for a life worth less than living. Reach with your first and very last breath towards victory to that mountaintop, and we will all be there with you on the front line of life, standing in the light of that glorious sun. Lift up your hearts, the time is ripe. It always seems impossible until it is done.